Hello, good evening, everyone. Can anyone confirm? Am I audible?
Yes, Balaji.
Okay, great. Sorry that I had an issue with my other headphones. I just got another one. Sorry for the delay. So guys, this is the last session for Excel as such. So if you have any queries, we can post it onto the chat. I know few of the one of the person posted chat about some of the topics like X lookup, H lookup, pivot table, and all. So if you know, we have only 10 hours for Excel session, and I want to make this as a effective and interactive as well, so that we added some hands-on as well. So because of which we won't be able to cover all the topics in Excel. We are covering just the frequently one and the most used one. So we won't be able to cover the vast amount of topics like Power Query or Power Pivot or normal pivot table graphs or the formulas like XLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, index match. There are many things in Excel. We won't be able to cover up that due to the time constraint, or I can say the number of hours we have for Excel. So ExcelR has their own data analytics course in which I normally used to cover up that particular topics and all. But for EDL, we are covering only the basic and the frequently used ones. Sorry guys for the disconnect. I don't know what happened. Like the network connection got disconnected instantly. Is everyone can hear me? Okay, anyone confirm? Amar and Chandana? Can you hear me? Okay, great. So guys, as I told you, some of the topics, some topics like XLOOKUP, VLOOKUP, Power Pivot and all, will be covered, won't be covered in the EDL sessions, but they are covered in the regular courses of ExcelR. You can reach out to EDL at the ExcelR.com for more information on that. But due to the time constraint, we won't be able to cover power pivot, XLOOKUP, VLOOKUP, pivot table, the normal Excel charts and all. We'll be covering the topics which we covered in the last position, that is the basic formulas and the Excel referencing and so on. And today we'll be covering the VBA, which is one of the important part in Excel as well, which is part of advanced Excel. So I request everybody to open the referencing workbook, which we were working on last Friday. I'm sharing my screen. Let me know once it's visible. So everybody open this particular workbook, which we worked on Friday. Give next 2 minutes to get the workbook open. Then we will start with the VBA part. Guys, if you have any queries, do post it onto the chat. If you raise your hands, we won't be able to unmute you because as per the Zoom settings, we need to unmute. We cannot unmute an individual. We need to unmute all the 400 participants who are there, and that will unnecessarily create a disturbance. So whatever query you have, when you can post it on the chat box, I will read it and try to answer that as soon as possible. Chandana, can you give that Google Drive link for the people? I think some people are asking for the file.
Yes, Balaji, I'm posting in a chat box. Let them check.
Thank you. Whatever queries you are having regarding the syllabus or the things which you want to learn, do send an email to edl@excelr.com. They will help you. Maybe they might include that particular topics in the next video. Just drop an email to them. They will help you. Chandan has provided you the Google Drive link. You can download the file referencing from there. You should be able to get a blank file like this. Other people who have opened the file, just delete it. Just delete this particular things which we calculated last time. Now we will calculate using the VBA method. Okay, hope everybody has opened this particular Excel file. Let's first understand what is VBA. VBA stands for Visual Basic for Application. Visual Basic for Application. So if you see, VBA stands for Visual Basic for Application. This Visual Basic is nothing but one of the programming language, which is called as Visual Basic. It's itself is one of the programming language which was used in the earlier 90s for doing the programming and stuff. Okay. Now, VBA, Visual Basic for Applications. What are the applications? All Microsoft Office products. All Microsoft Office products, we can use VBA. Let it be Excel, Word, PowerPoint, Internet Explorer, MS Access. You can use VBA to automate that. VBA used for automation. VBA, we use it for automation. What is automation? Or can anyone answer this question? What is automation? You can post your answers onto the chat window. What we call it as automation? Why? We can do complex tasks in less time. How? How we can do complex tasks in less time? It's partially, I can say partial right answer. Yes, the works are performed automatically with the help of coding. Yes. Any complex task which is time consuming, you can automate that. That means that particular system or the process will run automatically. The technique of making an apparatus, a process or system operate automatically. But I can say a tool or with the help of coding, we can make any process to perform in an automated way without human intervention. That is called as automation. So what happens when you do automation? I can say benefits of automation. What are the benefits of automation? Do pardon me for the spelling mistakes I normally do. Can anyone tell me what are the benefits? There are n number of benefits of automation. Can anyone put on to the chat window? Reduce time. Yes. Time saving. One of the important thing why automation is very important. Yes. Time saving means less manpower. Resource saving, for example, let's say I have 10 employees. Now I done the automation of the process. I can use only 2 employees. The rest 8 I can utilize in the other departments. The resource time is saved. Cost effective, speed and accuracy. Yes, cost effective. No. If you consider the salary you pay to the resources and the premium you pay to automation tools, Visual Basic is free, but other automation tools like robotics and all, it's costly. But on a long term, it's cost efficient. The other main important thing is accuracy or no human errors. Instead of accuracy, I can say no human errors. That means when you run automation as a human, you always tend to make mistakes, right? Whenever there is a process which is being performed by the human, there is always a scope of error in it. Nobody is perfect, right? Even I do mistakes on the work which I do. Like the simple thing is like I normally do spelling mistakes and everything. In the work also sometimes forget for a particular piece of code. So there is a scope of human error in each and every task or the process. So if it automated, that means it's done by machine. Whatever command you feed, it will do accurately each and every time. So no human errors. Reduces human error, right? Perfect. So these are the major benefits of automation. That's the reason industry are moving towards the automation of the processes so that It's cost effective for them. Their resources can be utilized in the other fields and very less scope of errors. Is it clear for everyone? So we will, automation itself is a big universe where you have robotics, where you have the robotics tools like Power Automate or Microsoft, Blue Prism, and so on. But basically, person like us who are not that tech savvy, who knows the basic Excel, for them the automation is the only one option, that is VBA. So we're looking on to what is VBA, how to work with VBA, and so on. Okay, is everyone clear? What is a VBA? VBA and macros. VBA or macros. These are one and the same thing. Just the way the people call is different, but it's one and the same thing. Some people say VBA, some people say macros. Some people say Excel automation as well. And the way they call is different, but the thing is one and the same. Okay. Is everyone clear? Any queries? If you have any queries, you can put it onto the chat box. No, right? So first of all, we will see recording of the macro. How to record a macro. For example, people who have downloaded, I hope everyone has downloaded the file. So let's delete the, if you have some text or the formulas over here, just delete it. Also delete it over here. Okay. Everybody delete the formulas over here and also onto here and also over here. Delete everything. Okay. Now let's see, every day I come over here, I apply some formulas. Okay. This minus this. Every day I apply some formulas. I just drag it down. I do this activity on an everyday basis. So I thought one day, let me automate this particular task. I can't do it every day. I need to automate it. Okay. Every day I get this particular file from my client. So this file is not same as yours. This is the same file which I have shared on Friday. You might have calculated this particular column. You need to just delete it. Download the file with the name referencing. Can you see this particular name referencing? Download the file with the name referencing. Okay. Moving ahead. Let's say a scenario. Every day I get this particular file and I do calculations like this minus this. I calculate this and send it to my manager. This is my everyday task. I spend around, let's say 30 minutes in doing that. Okay. I spend around 30 minutes in doing that. Like I apply the formula, I check whether my formulas are right, whether values are right, I validate it, and I send to my manager. So this particular task takes around 30 minutes per day. Let's say 30 minutes per day. How many minutes a month? Let's say I work for 25 days. That is this into 25. 750 minutes. I work for 12 months. Okay. 750 into 12, 9,000 minutes. Let's convert this into hours. Divide by 16, it will convert to hours. That means 150 hours a year. If I automate this particular task, I would say I would save 150 hours, right? I will be saving 150 hours of a resource, right? Which is around, I can say 5% of his yearly thing. Let's say I'm paying a resource 10 lakh rupees a year. Let's say cities is 10 lakh rupees. If I say 5% of that, that means I'm saving 50,000 per year. Let's see how much time I might require to automate this. Let's see how much time I would require to automate this. The basic thing which we can do is everybody has this developer option with them? Can everybody see the developer option in their Excel workbook? If not, the people who don't see this particular developer option, go to file. You need to go to file, then more, then go to options and customize ribbon and check this developer tab. You need to check this one and say, okay, that's it. You will be able to see the developer option. People who don't see the developer option and want to repeat the steps again, do post it onto chat. I will repeat it again. If you have this, then I will move ahead. Okay, I believe everybody has this particular option. So what I do is the basic and simplest way. I don't know anything about VBA. I don't know how to write a VBA code at all. So what I do, I record the things which I do. Yes, I will show again. Do follow with me. I will go a little bit slow as well. Go to file. You get this particular window. Based on your versions, the UI might look different. You go to file, then go for more, then options. You go to more, then options. Inside options, you need to go to customize the ribbon. Click over here, and I just take the developer option. This is a developer. Okay, I check this one and I say, okay, I should see the developer tag over here. Okay. Okay, now let's say I don't know VBA macro, but I want to automate this. So what is the best way I can do is record a macro. So I go over here and I click on record a macro. Okay, I gave the name as my first macro without any space. My first macro without any space. I give the name as my first macro. The shortcut key I can give is, if I say Control S, it will conflict with the save shortcut key. If I put Control C, it will conflict with copy. If I put Control V, it will conflict with paste. So what I do, I also press Shift and A, Control Shift B. Let's say Control Shift B. If I press, this is a shortcut key for my macro. Control Shift B is my shortcut key for the macro. How do I assign the Control Shift B? Press Shift and B when you click on this shortcut key and say okay. Now can you see your screen is getting recorded? Whatever you do onto the Excel, it will get recorded in the VBA course. So what I do first, I will calculate the profit, that is selling price minus cost price. Okay. Then I will drag this to down. Okay. This is one thing which I need to do. I have done this. Next, I will move on to this particular one. Here I need to calculate the percentage. I write the formula, that is this divided by this number, and I will freeze it by pressing F4. Now I got 65%. Then I will drag this to down. Okay. Now I calculated relative and absolute. Now I will stop the macro. Can you guys record it on your own? Guys, whenever I'm showing you, don't try to do along with me. You just observe it and also take notes onto your notepad. And after that, I always give you time. If you require more time, do let me know in the chat. I will give you the time. You practice on that particular when I will giving you the time. Don't practice along with me. If you practice along with me, you won't understand what I'm explaining. You just copy it as a robot. I want you to understand the things. So don't do along with me. Whenever I give you the time, practice on that particular interval. So guys, now try to record the macro. Then we will see how to see the recorded macro. I give another 4 minutes to record the macro. VBA is only available on Microsoft Excel, not in WPS or any other uh, version of Excel. It's available only on Microsoft Excel. Sir, can you show the percentage formula? Absolutely. The percentage formula is the same formula which we applied last time. It's B2 divided by $F $1. I posted onto the chat. If it is not freezing, press function F4. That is, like, can you see the key with the word Fn? Press Fn and then F4. It should freeze. If it is not freezing, then you manually put dollar and dollar signs before that. This is the same Excel file which we done on Friday. How to add shift key? Whenever you get this particular screen, click on the shortcut button and press shift and the alphabet. It will add shift to it. For example, if I add shift Y, if I press shift along with Y, it will add shift, control shift Y. Why we mention shortcut? I will explain you what is the use of the shortcut. First of all, let me please confirm me once you completed this particular recording of the macro, then we'll move on to the where we can see the code of the macro which is recorded, what the use of shortcut key and so on. We'll look into it. How do we run the macro? We recorded it, but how do we run it? We will see once you complete the recording. Yeah, once the steps are completed, you stop the recording. Wherever you have the button to start recording, similarly here you get the stop recording. Once the steps are completed, click on stop recording, then only your macro will be created in the backend. So this is how you record a macro. Click on recording. You give a name, give a shortcut key. Then once you click OK, the macro will start recording. You can see option to stop recording over here. That means your recording has started. Then you calculate this particular formula, this particular one. You calculate this. Once that is done, you stop the macro. That means stop the recording. When you click on stop recording, then there is a code has been created in the backend. So guys, you won't be seeing all the tabs which I have over here. You might not see this because it's something which I have at the automator data streamer and all, I enabled it. We have nothing to do with that. It's specific to my requirement. You just need the developer tab. Okay, have you recorded the macro? Now, let's see how to run, where to find this macro. I click on this Visual Basic inside developer. Can you see this Visual Basic? I click on that. You get this particular window. If you are not getting this particular pane in view, you go to Project Explorer. Okay. In view, you need to go to Project Explorer. Then you can view this. Can you see Excel work objects, sheet 1, sheet 2, relative, absolute, all the sheet names which are present over here. You can see it onto this particular VBA window as well. This is called as a VBE. VBE window. VBE stands for VB editor, that is Visual Basic VBE stands for Visual Basic Editor. The window which you see is a Visual Basic Editor window. Okay. And now I expand this module. Can you see a plus symbol over here? I expand this. Inside that you will see module 1. When I double click onto it, I see my code. I given the name as my first macro. That macro is created over here. Can you see? That macro is created over here. You can see the codes, range.select, application.cut, copy mode, range d2.select, and so on. What is a range? A group of cells or a single cell becomes the range. So if we read this particular thing carefully, range d2.select, that means d2, this is getting selected. Can you see? Range d2.select means this, you select this particular cell. The first, after starting the recording, the first step what we done is we selected this particular cell. So that's the reason we're getting d2.select. Then this cut copy mode false is something which we don't require. I might have pressed escape. That's the reason I'm getting this one. Then I'm writing a formula into the active cell. This is my active cell. Range D2 is my active cell. Writing a formula. RC -1 minus RC -2. Row and column -1 minus RC -2. What is RC -1? This is my RC. That is the current row and column. -1. That is this one. Then what I'm doing is this particular cell, which is RC -1 is this one. This minus RC -2, which is this one. That is, I'm applying a formula which says C2 minus B2. I'm not getting module 1. Have you stopped the recording of the macro? Then you should get the module 1. People who are not getting module 1, just check whether you stopped the recording of the macro or not. Swati, can you post the screenshot onto the chat? Then I will get an idea what exactly you are referring to. Okay. For others, let's go to the VBA window. I applied the formula. Then I'm saying fill this formula. Can you see range D2.select? I'm again selecting the D2. Then selection.autofill destination range. I'm saying autofill into the destination range D2 to D6. Can you see? D2 to D6. I am filling this formula from D2 to D6. Is it clear for everyone till this particular code? Double click on the module is nothing but, for example, this is my module. I double click it, then I see this particular window. For example, if I close this, this is a window you might be seeing when you open the VBA editor. But when I double click on that, I see this code which is inside the module. It's a simple double click. Swati, there is a module which is present. Can you see there is a written as a module? You need to click on the plus symbol. Can you see your screen is exactly same as this? You need to click on the plus symbol, then you get module 1. Click on this plus symbol. Expand this module. Inside that, you can get module 1. Double click on it. You will get this particular code. Okay, everybody understood till this particular line of code? What exactly I written the VBS written in the backend? First is applies the formula on D2. Then it fills into D2 to D6, the same formula. Guys, let me know whether you understood. Just post it on the chat. If you want to repeat, I can again repeat it, how to analyze this particular code. Swati, you need to go on to the first one. Can you see there are two Excels? One is, I think, XML templates. Don't go on to the second one. The first one, can you see there is a modules? Open that. Inside that, you can get the modules which we have written. Okay, I will repeat once again. Let's go to the Excel. What I have done, I written a formula over here. What I exactly done while recording the macro, I written a formula over here. That is this cell. That is the current cell -1 minus this one. I written a formula like this. Then I dragged it below. Okay. So this is what is getting recorded over here. I selected D2. This is D2. This is D2. I selected D2 and applied a formula. That is RC -1. That means this column -1, this column and this column. I'm subtracting it. I'm subtracting this one minus this one. That is a formula which is getting applied onto D2. Okay, once the formula is applied, I'm doing autofill. That is destination is D2 to D6. I'm filling the same formula from D2 to D6. Okay, that means I am filling the same formula from D2 to D6 where my data is present. Hope it's clear now. Can you see selection dot autofill dot destination where you want to autofill D2 to D6? Is it clear? Okay, next what I done is I move on to absolute, sheet name absolute. Can you see I have written sheets absolute dot select? Can you see this? Sheets absolute dot select. If you want, I can paste it onto the notepad and show you so that the fonts are a bit bigger. So what I've done, I gone to the sheet absolute and selected C2. If I go to my Excel, I gone to absolute and selected C2. This is the cell which I selected. Okay. Then I written the formula RC -1, that is this one, divided by, can you see the divided symbol? R1C1. R1C1 means, sorry, R1C6. Row 1, R means row 1, C6. Can you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? The column 6. I'm saying divide this one with row number 1, column number 6. That's a formula which I written over here. Then similarly, range is C2 to C7 dot select, and I say fill down. C2 to C7 I selected and I filled it down. That's it. Is everybody understood the code? How to analyze the code? Because whenever you write a macro, you need not writing. Whenever you record a macro, it needs some customization of that particular macro as well. For that, you need to understand what exactly the VBA code is written. Then only you can edit it. Something like minor edits, like if I go over here, instead of range D6, if I want to till D7, I can edit it, right? This will come to, you can do this when you understand the code. So always when you record the macro, read it and understand it. That's a one major thing which I want. Hope everybody was able to understand the code which was written in the backend. Now I want to run the macro. I've written the macro, right? Then what is the use? I need to run the macro. So what I do, I delete this. I delete this. Okay, I delete these two. And I press what was the shortcut key for my macro. I go over here. What was the shortcut key? Control Shift B. This was my shortcut key, right? Control Shift B is my shortcut key. So what I do, I press Control Shift and B. Can you see? The results are auto-populated. Harsh, I have initially explained what is macro, what is the use of it, why people are using automation as a tool in their organization. I explained this. You can go through the recording after the session. You will be easily able to understand why we use macros. Okay. So once you press the shortcut key, for mine is Control Shift B. Once I press that Control Shift B, the macro is getting run in the backend and we are getting the result. Is it clear for everyone? Okay. Then the other way to run the macro is, let's delete this one. Let's delete this. The other way to run this macro is go to macros. You can see all the macro names over here. Can you see? You select this first macro and click on run. Can you see it's running? The macro is getting ran one more time. Is it clear for everyone? Can you try this out running the macro? Also analyze the code one more time and run the macro. I give you next 5 minutes to analyze the code and run the macro. Right now it's 7:46. We can try running this macro. Also try recording another macro. Try writing different kind of formulas. Do some customization so that you can easily understand what is the code has been written. I give you a next 5 minutes to try and run the macro. Also try different recordings as well. How to run? You are given the shortcut key, right? Something you might have given while creating the macro. For mine is Control Shift B. Once you press Control Shift B, it will be running. And for the other way of running is go to this particular macros. Can you see this macros? Click on that. You see the macro name which you created. Just click on run. That's it. Okay, guys, you try this particular running this macro. I take a 2-minute break and come back. Guys, if you get any error while running the macro, just post it onto, just take a screenshot and post it onto the chat window. I will try to resolve that. No result after using the macro key. Just check whether the macro is getting recorded properly or not. Go to Visual Basic Editor, you go to module and see whether the shortcut key which is written over here, it's one and the same. Now also you can try from this, try running from here and try to run it. If it runs properly from here but not with the shortcut key, then the way you pressing the shortcut key might be wrong, or you might not assign the shortcut key itself. It's I have assigned Control Shift B, for you it might be different. Okay, hope everybody has tried running the macro. Now let's move on to the next part of VBA, that is loops in VBA. I say loops in VBA. Can anyone tell me what is a loop? Can anyone tell me what is the meaning of loop in a programming language? Or what is the use of a loop? To repeat a particular task, right? Till the answer is not satisfied, right? Perfect answer. We do a particular task again and again until and unless a condition is met. For example, loops in VBA repeat a task again and again until a condition is met. What we say in loop, the loop is nothing but repeat a task again and again until a condition is met. Okay. So let's see what is a condition. Let's take one of the example. I want to get numbers. Read the chat box. We use loop where we want to repeat a task again and again until the user will stop it. It will be repeated. No, user won't stop it. User can't stop it. User can give a condition to stop at a particular point. Great. So what I want is, I want the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I want the numbers from 1 to 10. What I want to write the numbers from 1 to 10 in row in column A. What I want the numbers from 1 to 10 in column A. So let's try to write a VBA code for this. I go to Visual Basic. I go to my module where I written. So how to start write a VBA macro on your own. This is very simplest VBA macro we are going to write. Okay. I say public or I say sub. Now, whenever you start a macro and want to name it, you start with sub. That is a subroutine. Sub is called as a subroutine. So this is a syntax how you write a macro. Sub. I will say loop underscore macro. I say loop underscore macro. I put a opening bracket and closing bracket and press enter. I write this particular text, that is sub loop macro loop underscore macro. I put a opening bracket and closing bracket and press enter. I get this particular thing. This is start, this is end. Sub is starting over here, we are ending this sub. It will be automatically generated end sub. Okay. In between these two, we need to write the code. In between these two, we need to write the code. So what I write? First of all, I need to declare a variable. What is a variable? Where we can store the variable values. Variable is where we can store the values. Variable is where we can store the values. So first of all, if I want from 1 to 10, 1 to 10 over here, I need to stop at 10, right? The moment it reaches 10, I need to stop it. The moment it reaches the value 10, I need to stop the loop, else it will go on to the infinite loop, right? If I don't stop at 10, it will go to an infinite loop, right? So I need to stop at 10. So to stop at 10, somebody needs to count. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So let's assign that to a variable. Okay. So I declare a variable dim. I say counter, or let's say counter as variable. Dim counter as a integer because it's getting counted 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which are integers. I said dim counter as integer. The variable name is counter. The data type is an integer because we are counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10. Can you write this particular code? So what I've done is I defined a variable. I given the name for the macro, that is loop underscore macro. I started the subroutine, given the name. Then I define the variable, that is counter, as integer. What is the use of this counter? It will track of the number. It will keep track of this particular number. Okay, whether number 10 times I incremented this or not. Is everyone written this? Sub loop underscore macro, dim counter as integer, then end sub. End sub will be automatically generated. So let's now write a for loop. For counter equal to, counter should start from 1 and end at 10. So I say for counter equal to 1 to 10. I need to do a set of tasks. Once you start the for loop, you need to end it as well. For example, here you started the for loop. Okay, here you started the for loop saying for counter equal to 1 to 10. Then how do you say that this is my for loop? You need to go next. For example, this is my counter equal to 1 to 10. Next is you want to go to the next step. Once you complete the one particular step, you need to go to the next step. That is, again, you return 1, you need to go to the second step and set 2 till, and then 3 and then 4 till 10 you need to do it. That's the reason I given 1 to 10. So the counter will automatically increment in for loop. Can you write this particular code? No, we don't need a break statement, Neola, at least for this particular code. We are doing very basic VBA. So I know in VBA, we can put a break statement to handle the exception and all, but it will be too much for the other people. So we will limit to the basic ones, how to write a basic VBA map. So I explained this particular code again. I'm saying for loop. This is a for loop is a kind of a loop which we can run in Excel VBA. I'm saying for the counter from 1 to 10, you run the loop. That means the loop will run 10 times. It will start with 1, it will end at 10. That means it will start at 1 and it will end with 10, means 10 times the loop will run the particular code which I write it over here. Okay, now I return the loop. Now let's write the condition. Yes, it's case sensitive. And it will automatically correct it. If I write instead of F capital small f, it will automatically correct it. It's case sensitive and it's auto correct as well. And no, for most of the cases, not case sensitive. For example, for F, if you write it a small f, it will automatically correct it. So what we do now is we need to print the numbers. So what I say, where do I need to print it? I want to print over here, that is range A1. I want to start printing from A1, right? So what I write in the code is, what is dim? Like you said, to start writing the code, we have to write sub. So dim also format for something else. Okay, dim means dimension. For example, I'm declaring a variable counter. When I declare some variable, I need to declare its data type as well, whether it's an integer, it's a string, or a double, or a boolean, or a character. and so on. Dim means dimension. I'm saying dimension of counter is integer. Saying whenever you declare a variable, start with dim. Dim means dimension. Dimension of counter is as integer. So whatever values will go will be an integer into the counter. Okay. Now I write active sheet. What is my active sheet now? If I go to my Excel, this is my active sheet, that is sheet 4. Or I can give sheet 4 as well. What I write it, sheets, bracket, double quotes, I write sheet 4, which is the name of my sheet. This is the name of my sheet, right? Sheet 4 is the name of my sheet. I'm going to this particular sheet, sheet 4. I'm going to this particular sheet, that is sheet 4. Inside sheet 4, I want to go to range A1. So I put A1 over here. Inside sheet 4, I'm going to A1. So I write sheets, sheet 4 dot range A1 dot value equal to, what should be a value? Counter, because it starts with 1 and ends at 10. So can I say counter? The sheets 4 dot range A1 dot value equal to counter. It will start with 1, it will end at 10. Okay. So let's try to run this particular code. I go to macros. Can you see there is one more VBA macro, that is loop underscore macro. I will select this and I will try to run. Let's see whether there is a error or not. Yes, there is an error. Can you see? Instead of printing 1 to 10, it has printed directly the 10. No, there are no exams, Ikra. So instead of printing 1 to 10 in a sequence, it has printed 10. That's because every time I'm editing A1 only. Can you see? If I see the result, I'm getting 10 in the A1. So what it happens is, each and every time it's updating A1. Let me show you in a simpler way. This is, I'm running the code step by step. I started my code. I'm running it. First time I'm running it. This is the first time. I executed this particular step for the first time. If I see the Excel, what it has written, 1. Okay. Now I will execute again. Next counter, because the counter has not reached 10. Currently the counter value is 1. Can you see? When I over, I get counter equal to 1. So now the counter value is 1. So it will run one more time. Can you see? Now I run one more time. Now the counter value is 2. That's get printed over here. If I run one more time, now the counter value is 3. The third time it's running. Can you see? 3 is printed over here. Similarly, if I run, now the counter value is 7. The moment it reaches 10, now it has reached 10. So it will break this particular loop and end it. The moment the counter reaches 10, it will break the loop and end this code. Can you see? So each and every time only A1 is getting updated. Hope everybody can see my screen, right? Can anyone confirm? Is my screen visible? Okay. So if anybody is not able to see the screen, just for you try to rejoin it. Yes, everybody can see the screen. Ikra, you need to rejoin the session. It's something technical glitch at your end. So first write this particular code. I will paste it onto chat window. Then we will correct the code, because right now we are getting the exact output in the Excel. We need to correct the code. First of all, let's write this code. Let's go step by step and write this particular code. I'm pasting onto the chat window the code. You can try to write it. Once you write it, we will rectify this particular code. Also try the shortcut key for running the code step by step is F8. If you press F8, it will start you need to click inside the macro, press F8, it will run step by step. Can you see? It will run step by step. The shortcut key is F8. F8 is the shortcut key for running the macro step by step. If F8 is not working, then press F1 plus F8. F1 and F8 press press at the same time if F8 is not working. For that, you need to click inside the macro, then only you should press F8. Then it will run step by step. Try this out, then we will move on to the correct what we can do to get the numbers in the each and every row. Swati, in laptop also is same key, F8. If in your laptop F8 is not working, then press the function key, that is F1. You might get a F1 key next to the control. Most of the laptop is next to the control key, that is the F1 key. Press F1 and F8. The codes are not case sensitive. For example, if you declare variable in the small case, whenever you write it in the uppercase, it automatically convert into the small case. No, it's not case sensitive. It will automatically convert it for you. Wherever there is caps is not present, it will automatically convert the cases. For example, if I write the counter, the C as capital, then you see automatically converts into the smaller one. So it's the VBA macro is pretty intelligent to do that. For you, it's not converting. No, it should convert. If you write the proper spelling, then it will convert. If you're getting the things like you cannot run the code in the break mode, can you see this particular button? Click on that and then run it. Click on this particular square button, blue color square. Just click on that and then run. Guys, if you press F8, that means the macro is already running. If you try to run it again, you will get an error. People are getting the error like you cannot execute a code at break mode. Can you see this particular button, reset? Just click on that. It will then again try to run, it will run. And no, there is no autocorrect option, Geeta, as per my knowledge. You get this IntelliSense, for example, if I write dot value or something, sometimes you get the IntelliSense. For me, it's not working right now because I have already written the code. But if I write it over here, for example, something like application, can you see all the objects are coming over here? It's IntelliSense. If I write screen, I get this particular thing. It's IntelliSense works, but it's not autocorrect. Only the case can be autocorrected. Nasreen, you are getting subscript out of range. If you are getting subscript out of range, check the sheet name. The sheet 4 should be same as the sheet name which is over here. If you still feel that your names are right, then also you're getting the subscript out of range error. Just double click, press Ctrl C, that is copy over here, and paste it onto the VBA code. The subscript out of range will come only when you do a spelling mistake in the sheet name or the range name. No, Geeta, as I told you, it's not case sensitive. It will automatically correct it wherever you the variables cases are not on the proper thing. For example, if I put small s as well, it will automatically convert it. It's not case sensitive. People who are getting subscript out of range, they need to check the sheet name whether it's the spelling is proper or not. If the spelling is incorrect, then it will give you a subscript out of range error. Does everybody count this code running? Or you need more time? Or somebody is getting an error, do post it on the chat. I will try to resolve it. I hope everybody has completed this. Let's try to edit the formula. Now we are not getting the, I'm getting this particular error. Okay, as I told you previously, when you try to save this particular workbook, you get this following message box saying if you save it on ExcelSX, it will lose the macro functionalities. To continue saving as a macro free workbook, click yes. I don't want to save as a macro free workbook. I want the code to run again. So I say no, you click on no. Then here what you select? ExcelSM, as you told on the first session. ExcelSM is the version of Excel not version, is a format of Excel where you can save the VBA. Okay. I say save. That's it. Excel, this particular Excel will save along with the code. If you press yes, it will saved as ExcelSX and all your code will vanish. All the codes will be deleted. Can everyone save it as an ExcelSM workbook? ExcelSM, the second option, macro enabled Excel workbook. Guys, please save the workbook. Can you please show sheet 2 and sheet 3 of your Excel? The sheet 2 and sheet 3 are nothing but I use this particular sheet to explain the things. Like what is VBA, what are the benefits of VBA, where the VBA can run, what is Visual Basic Editor and all. Sheet 3 is explaining what is loops in VBA. Okay, hope everybody has saved this particular file. Now let's edit this. How to save? Lakshma Reddy, how to save? I just press Control S. Press Control S. You should get a pop-up saying whether you want to save this as macro free. You click on no, or you can go to file and say save as and save as a macro enabled workbook. In the drop down, select macro enabled and click on save. Okay. Proceed. Yes. Close this particular one. Can you see this format? Macro enabled. The icon is different. Just open it. Yes, in ExcelSM. You need to save it in ExcelSM format. So I close the file. If I open it again, my code will be intact. Can you see? That's the reason if I saved in ExcelSX, I might not got this particular code. It's not coming for you. It's not possible. You go to file and say save as. In the drop down, you should get ExcelSM. Okay. Now let's go into the VBA editor. Now what happening is each and every time the values are printed in A1 only. The values are printed in A1 only. So I want to increase this from A1 to A2, A3, A4 and still A10 along with the counter. Whenever counter moves from 1 to 2, A1 should move from A1 to A2. Right? That's what my requirement is, right? Whenever the counter moves ahead, my rows should move down from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4 and so on. So what I need to do is instead of 1, can I pass on this variable counter? Instead of 1, can I pass on this variable counter? So normally VBA doesn't take this way. If I put this, it will give me the error. So what I need to do is whenever I pass on variable to a text into my code, I just put ampersand over here. I'm concatenating A and counter. So I'm passing on A. Whenever you update this sheet, update the range A and the counter. Whenever the counter value increases, the cell value also increases. So let's try to run this particular code. I press F8. First time when the code is running, counter is 1. So it will print on A1, right? Now the counter has increased to 2. So it should print on A2. I press F8. Can you see it's printed on A2? Now if I increase it again, it's pressed on A3. Now the counter is 4. Can you see? The counter is 4. Now it will paste it on A4. Can you see? Now, if I press F5, it will automatically run. I get the code numbers from 1 to 10. This is what we called as a loops in VBA. If I want to print to 100 as well, I just need to change it to 100. And if I run it, if I press F5, it will run. And can you see? I get the numbers from 100, 1 to 100. Is it clear for everyone? What I have done, instead of A1, I set A ampersand counter. So I'm passing counter instead of A1. It should be A and the counter. Whenever the counter increases from 1 to 2, it should paste it onto A2. Then when it increases to 3, it should paste it onto A3 and so on. That's what I'm writing over here. A ampersand counter. Is it clear for everyone? Okay, guys, just try it out. Whether you are getting the proper result or not. If you get any error or any difficulty, then you can post it on the chat. So could you say the button we need to press for execute it stepwise? It's F8. It's F8, Geeta. I will show you. This is F8. You need to press the key F and 8. If F8 is not working, then you need to press function key. Besides control key, you should have the function key in your laptop. Press function and F8. Guys, you need to run the code only once. And if you run 2 times as well, it doesn't make any difference. It will overwrite. If I start from A4, tab means what are the changes I should do. If you want to start printing from A4, you need to give counter plus 4 in the this particular line of code. Instead of A count, where you say A ampersand counter, you should say A ampersand counter plus 4. If you want to run from A4. If you press function F8 7 times, I'm getting 4 till 6. So whenever you press F8, you get the counter value. F8 is used whenever you want to run the code step by step and see where exactly the error is. You press F5 and see whether the code is running properly or not. If it is not running, then you need to check your code. Sir, I'm only getting 10 as the output, not other numbers are displayed. Have you written this particular code, A ampersand counter? You might not return that. Even we got only 10 in the first step because we need to increase the range as well. Do you have to run it 10 times? No, you can press F5 to run this code, or you can run it from Here in the macros, you go to macros, you see the name, just click on run, it will run. You need not to press F8 10 times. You can run it from here. So I'm passing the code onto the chat window. You can refer to it. I posted the code onto the chat window. Just refer to it. If you are getting any error saying can't execute in break mode, you need to click on this reset button. Can you see there is a reset button over here? A square button, blue colored one. That is a reset button. You need to click on that, then execute. Is it possible to model data in Excel like we do it in RDMS? No. It might be possible with Power Query. In Power Query, we can do the data modeling. Power Query and Power Pivot. Not Power Query, sorry, it's Power Pivot. In we can do data modeling, but in VBA it's not. For me, numbers are printing from cell A1, cell A with row 11. If you give counter start from 11 to 100, then it will start from 11th row. I might have given counter plus 10 or something. Geeta, can you paste the code onto the chat window? Let me look into the code. What should I do after typing the code to get the number? You need to run the VBA macro. Go to Excel, the macros, and click on the macro name and click on run. It will automatically run. Okay. Sublimate counter as integer for counter 1 and 2 sheet 2. Geeta, the thing which you given wrong onto the code is it's not A1. If you see my code, you see the code which I written onto the VBA editor. If you see this particular one, it's A ampersand the counter. It's not A1 ampersand counter. You change it, you should get the proper result. Yeah, you can do the same loop in different sheet as well, but you need to change the sheet name. Can you see the sheet name? You need to give the appropriate sheet names. Trupti, the shortcut key F8 is just for running the code step by step. Whenever you want to validate your code, we run step by step. For that, we use F8. But for you to run the code, you need not to press F8. You can press F5. F5 or function F5 to run the code. F5 or function plus F5 to run the code. Or you can run it from here. When you press function F5, all the code will run at one go. It won't go step by step. Both or multiple sheets can be done. Yeah, you can write the code onto the multiple sheets as well. You return the code for sheet 4, then write the code for sheet 5 as well. Let me show you that. I get the sheet called sheet 5. So here also I can do the same kind of code. I put sheet 5 over here. And that's it. You can write the code for multiple sheets. I press F5. Can you see in sheet 4 and sheet 5, both the code sits running? Let me delete it one and show you one more time. I go over here, run the code. For sheet 4 and sheet 5, both of them, we get 1 to 100 rows. Okay. Hope everybody has completed this and understood how to write us loops in VBA. Okay, now let's write a message box in VBA. So what I say, let's write a simple message box. How do we start writing the code? First of all, I need to give the macro name sub. I give message and enter. Okay. I give the name as message. And let's say hello. It should give the name of the user. I said dim name as string. I have defined a variable name as a string, and inside string I pass on the name. Sorry, inside name, name is an inbuilt keyword, so I will use nm, that is short form of name. Nm equal to I say whatever username is of your computer will be taken up. I am passing nm equal to application.username. First, what I done, I defined nm as a string. Then I am passing the username of your system into the nm. Then I am writing a message box. For message box, the code is msg box, and in double quotes I say hello and ampersand nm. Okay, everybody understood this particular code? I put it onto a notepad to view in a bigger font. So it says sub message dim nm as a string. I'm declaring a variable nm as a string. Nm equal to application.username. The Microsoft application which you are using, that dot username. When you press, then after that I'm displaying that name into the the message box. Okay. This is what the code is. Now I try to run this particular code. When I press F5, can you see? I get hello my particular name. In your system, you will get your name. Can you try to write this particular code? Can you try to write this particular code? When you put application application.username, your machine name will be captured. The application username will be captured. And that will pass on to the message box. Let me know if you get some error or you're getting the proper result. Okay, I can see people are getting the proper results. So I give you one task, very simple one, right? What is the task is inside sheet 4, instead of printing into the column A, I want this to be printed in column B. Can you see? Instead of printing in column A, I want this particular thing to be printed in column B. Can you edit the code so that you get the result? This is a very simple task. Just read the code and do the edit. Let's see how many are getting the right result. Yes, Swati, it's right. I can see most of you are giving the answer onto the chat window. That means many of you understood and the code. Yes, instead of A, need to write B. That's the right way. B ampersand counter. Great, I can see many of you are getting the right. Okay, guys, by this we complete the VBA. We have still 15 minutes time and we are completing the Excel module as well. So for next 10-15 minutes, let's have a Q&A. If you have any queries regarding the Excel, you can post it onto the chat window. I will address that. Swati, you are saying, but in range A also we are getting the results, sir. Because it's already typed, right? You need to delete it. For example, if I run my code as well, If I run my code as well, for example, this one, I don't have any result in column B. Just delete it. And if I go to my code, I go to my code, and if I change it to B, I just remove this particular one, and I just remove it. Now, if I run this particular VBA code, I press F5. Can you see even I get it A and B because in A it's already present. It's not overwriting it. If I delete it, both of them, and run this particular code, I get only in B. That means you need to delete A manually. How to merge many sheets together into one particular sheet. Nasrin, when you say merge, let's see you have data in many of the sheet. You need to append one below the other, right? For that, you need to do a loop inside these sheets. We need to traverse through, or that's a bit advanced VBA part. I cannot explain you with the code and everything because most of the people won't understand because we have just covered the basic. But I can give you the idea how it works. You need to traverse through all the sheets over here. You need to put a do while loop that will go to for each and every sheet name. For each loop, there is something called for each loop. For each loop will go for each and every sheet. Once it will go into the sheet, it will copy the data. Let's say there is a master sheet over here. Let's say there is a master sheet which is present over here. It will, your loop will traverse to all the sheet. It will go over here, copy the data, paste it here, then go to sheet 2, copy the data and paste below it. This is a way you can get this task accomplished. But how do we do that? If you want me to practically write the code now and do it, it's a bit difficult with the time and the audience because they have just learned the for loop. If you go this complex, they won't be able to understand. So I can give you the idea how to do it. You can Google it out, do R&D, and you can try this particular thing. Count blank usage. For example, let's say, where is relative absolute? Let's say there is blank over here. I want to count the blanks over here. How many names are blank? For example, let's say this person has not attended the exam. So we have blank result. So I want to count how many people have not attended this particular exam. Then I can say count blank. That will give you how many people were absent. So that's the usage of count blank. Power BI is based on which platform? Power BI itself, it's an analytical tool. So it's a product of Microsoft. It will run only on Windows laptop. It's not on any based on any platform. It itself is a BI tool. And the UI is very similar to Excel. Since it's a Microsoft product, the UI is very similar to Microsoft Office. Difference between Power BI and Power Query. So Power Query, it's a ETL tool. We will learn this in more deeper tomorrow. Power Query is a ETL tool. What do you mean by ETL? It's a extract, transformation, and load. What is that? You extract the data from a data source, you transform that, you do the data cleansing and load it into Power BI or any other tool. That is called as the ETL. Difference between Power Query in Power BI and Power Query in Excel, there is no difference. Both are one and the same. Both are Power Query itself is a Microsoft product. We have only Power Query as an add-in in Excel. Both are one and the same. I want to know rank in Excel. For rank, there is a by default formula. For example, if I say rank, I can rank this particular numbers. So it gives what is the rank of this 78. It's a fourth rank. 90 is the first and so on. If I drag it down, 90 is the first. This is second and so on. I need to freeze this range. F4. Can you see this is first rank, second rank, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, and so on. The formula is rank.eq. Then you have the one number, this number, you need to compare with all these particular numbers. Okay, and you get the rank. Is it clear? What are the limitations of Power Query, or why we move from Excel Power Query to advanced ETL tools like SSIS or PDI? SSIS is also a ETL tool which was used from long back. As the name suggests, it's a SQL server. It's a SQL Server integration services. So earlier we are not using any Excel is not, as you know, Excel is not a database, and ETL tools of works on the database. Okay. So what happens is, at that time when they need a ETL, Microsoft developed this particular product, SSIS, which is a SQL Server integration services. So it works well with SQL Server. Now we have Power BI, and we want to load the data into Power BI and also do the ETL process. For that, they developed Power Query, right? And it's a part of Power BI. And in Excel, why we are using Power Query is to enhance the usability of Excel. So when you use Power Query, for example, the database, let's say millions and millions of data. Okay, but can you load it in Excel? Absolutely no. But you can do a summarization of that. Let's say you have 1 million data. If you load it in Excel, it will die. So you can do summarization of the data, only that portion of the data which you want, a clean data. For example, out of 1 million, you want only the 10,000 or 20,000 record which belongs to your department. So you can use a ETL in between the data source and the Excel and get only the 10 to 20,000 of the data, which you can extract in Excel and do your work. So it makes your life easier. That's the reason Microsoft has given Power Query as an add-in to Excel. Everything is a Microsoft product, Power Query, Power BI. So they can use as an add-in to make Excel more powerful. They given that as an add-in. Yeah, match function. Yes. If I want to match, for example, let's say Ramesh. I want to find out the position of Ramesh. I say match. This is my lookup value. This is my lookup array. Inside that array, where Ramesh is present, I want the exact match. I type 0, where Ramesh is present. Ramesh is present at the second row. If I change it to Ketan, it gives the position of the Ketan. So what is the actual usage? It's a big thing to explain it. It's not I can explain it in 1 minute or 2 minutes. For that, you need to enroll to the, or you need to do R&D on the match function. As I told you, we cannot cover all the topics in Excel due to the time constraint. How we can query the data or get the external data? By using Power Query, you can query the external data and fetch it into Excel. Okay, VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP are same? No. I would say it's somewhat similar, but the functionalities are not exactly the same. We have some limitations in VLOOKUP, which are overcome by XLOOKUP. VLOOKUP, I can say a function, and XLOOKUP is a very advanced function of with more advancement, or it's updated one as compared to VLOOKUP. All the things which we do in VLOOKUP can be done in XLOOKUP, but all the things which you do in XLOOKUP cannot be done in VLOOKUP. If you want to know the exact difference, you can go to Google on the Microsoft page, you can find the exact differences. Any other question, guys, before we wind up for the day? Okay, guys, if there are no questions, we can wind up for the day. Tomorrow onwards, we will start with Power BI. And Amar is there, Amar Chandana. If you have any questions regarding the EDL, recordings or anything, how you can learn more functionalities of Excel and Power BI and Tableau. If you have any queries regarding that, you can just post it onto the chat window. Amar and Chandana will try to answer that. Kanishka is saying if error. For example, if error is used, for example, let's say I write something called Anthony over here. Anthony is not present over here. I'm getting an error, but I don't want to show this error to the user. So for that, I will use if error and write this particular match function inside that. And it says if this particular function gives you error, you type NA or not available. NA is not available. I place the bracket wherever the name is not present, it will say NA. Ramakrishna, what's the exact confusion? Can you brief on that? If the formulas are a bit simpler, I'm trying to explain it on the go, but some formulas like match and all or X lookup, V lookup, it needs a lot of time that I will leave it to you to go to Microsoft page and learn on your own. Okay, guys, if there are no queries, let's wind up the session for today. And if you have any queries for Amar as well, you can post it onto the chat. Thanks, everyone. Tomorrow we will start with Power BI. And we will install the Power BI in the class as well.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Balaji.
Thanks, Amar. Thanks,
So,
everyone.
my dear participant, I already shared the attendance link in the chat box. So please go ahead and mark your attendance. And don't forget to share your feedback as well. And if you have any query or question for EDL team, any question regarding the LMS, anything, let me know in the chat box. I will take it up, okay? Same, YouTube participant, if you have any question, just post in the chat box, live chat, okay? I have missed 3 days, so don't worry, just go through the recordings of that sessions, and going forward, we're done with the 5 days, 10 more days to go, so attend all the sessions. Attendance link is showing error. It's not possible. It's working properly. Guys, for others, it's working properly. Surma, just try to change your browser. So, my dear fellows, we're done with the Excel part. From tomorrow onwards, we're going to start the Power BI, okay? Yeah, we'll have an installation part in the first 10 minutes in tomorrow's session. So I'm requesting all of you, please join on the time. So we'll start the session on time, okay? Sir, if we are done, can we leave? Yes, Jyotika. Guys, if you don't have any query or question, you can leave the session and we'll meet you on tomorrow at same time at 7 p.m. sharp. I have recorded my attendance 2 times. Is there any problem of attendance percent? There is no any problem, but don't try to do that, okay? At least this should be easy. It should all be. Please arrange the FDP on data modeling in Excel. Okay, we'll try to go for the same. Any problem regarding certificate? Yes. If your attendance is less than 60%, you have to face the problem because 60% attendance is mandatory to get the certificate. Okay. I hope it's clear. You're welcome, Jyotika. No problem. Yes. My YouTube participant saying, do we need VBA to need a data scientist or data analyst? So VBA is a part of data analyst. Thanks, sir. You're welcome, Nikhil. Chitra Patil. Yes, it's working properly. Thank you, Chitra, for informing. Yeah, great, guys. Sir, what about other functions of Excel? So whatever we're done, that what we are going to cover in that Excel only, as we have only 5 days in our hand to cover our agenda of Excel. We have 10 more days to go, 5 days for Power BI and 5 days for Tableau. Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, Shiva, if you are going to miss any one day attendance, that's not going to face any problem, but try to attend all the sessions and mark attendance as well. Okay. Sir, I asked some question earlier now. What's your question? Can you please ask me once again? If it's related to ExcelR, LMS, all other things, if it's related to the Excel, so on such question, Balaji will help on the same on tomorrow's session. If not, then let me know. Yeah, good night. Bye, guys. Okay, I will be there to 2 minutes. No, related to software. Yes, please tell me then, Sumona. Guys will be there for 2 more minutes. Then we'll wind up for the day. Okay. I hope you are enjoying the class. My dear YouTube participant and Zoom participant, give me a thumb. YouTube participant, like the video, and Zoom participant, I want one thumb from your side if you're enjoying the session. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you, Salma. Thank you, Triveni. What you have thought? Sir, till now I have never used above links as directly I have went to site, take attendance. Yes, Kanishka, there is no any problem because the attendance link is over Zoom, YouTube, and LMS. It's same only, but you have to mark from anywhere at least once. Yes, guys, good to see that you are enjoying the class. Sir, we write exam at the end of the course for certificate. There will be one examination. We'll keep one assessment after the completion of this program. On the last day, we'll keep one assessment. Okay. So for tomorrow, we'll be use the Excel data which has done till now. Yes, guys, whatever the Excel file which is shown by the Balaji, we already uploaded that over LMS. So go there, download that file and keep practicing on the same. Okay. Dinesh, it's day 5. If you're on YouTube, definitely you are able to see the title, Advanced Excel Power BI Tableau Day 5. Okay, then thank you so much, all of you, to joining the session, and we'll meet you on tomorrow. So